What are the things that people should be looking out for? Because, everybody does get a bit forgetful as they get older, perhaps repeat a few stories. At what point is it being elderly, and at what point is it the early warning signs of dementia?
Well, dementia isn't part of normal ageing. Dementia is a whole bunch of symptoms that are a sign that you've got a brain disease, and there's a range of diseases that can cause those signs. And although we often think of it as a memory problem, the memory issues aren't often the things that are most troublesome to people. It's not being able to cope with life the way you used to. So that would be not managing your finances, not remembering words, perhaps not recognising members of your family, and things that just make life very difficult to live independently. And there is no cure, but there are things that you can do to make it less likely that you're going to get dementia, and also things that would make it later in onset so that you can live healthily for a longer period of time. And the sorts of things that you can do have been known for some time, and that includes exercise, keeping well physically, being careful around alcohol, and absolutely avoiding smoking. There's a whole range of lifestyle issues that seem to make a big difference, and we're hoping that the earlier people start that maybe at some point in the future the amount of dementia will be even less.
Yeah, I have a very limited amount of experience dealing with patients with dementia, but what I did learn during that brief period working in a hospital was that dementia affects people in different ways. And there was one lady who, she still had a sense of humour, but she didn't really know what was going on. Another lady, though, was sort of consumed by paranoia that people were stealing from her. And what I drew from that was that you don't know how it's going to affect different people, and it's very individual.
That's right. And it's interesting that your experience has mainly been with people in hospital, because sometimes doctors and nurses only see a person with dementia when they're in hospital, but there are very many people with dementia who are living independently in the community, people who are still driving, people who are doing lots of interesting and lively things and even working. So the person with dementia in hospital isn't a typical picture. And as you say, each person with dementia is quite difficult. The paranoia that people sometimes get is because if you can't remember why you are where you are, or why you don't have things round about you that you expect, then you start to wonder if someone else has removed your stuff, or if somebody is stopping you from being free. So that kind of paranoia comes from not understanding what's going on. So if you can create an environment that's easy for the person with dementia to understand, then they'll be much more like their old self, much more like they've always been. So a lot of looking after people with dementia is about keeping life as normal as possible and having as much fun as possible. And I'm glad you noticed that one of the ladies had a lot of fun and had a laugh, because some of my best laughs I've had with people with dementia. We can all have great fun, but it is very, very difficult for carers and the families who are looking after, because it's a tiring job, and it's a 24-hour job sometimes, caring for someone who's living through that experience.
Yeah, oh my goodness, and so many of us affected by this through our loved ones. We're so grateful to people who care for people suffering from dementia.